We can feel really frustrated when somebody's not paying attention to us or they're distracted by something else when they're in a conversation with us. I think it's pretty common feeling when that's the case. I was watching a social media video the other day, and must have been some type of relationship expert was giving relationship advice, and relationship advice related to this thing, related to your cell phone, and said that the cell phone is one of the biggest culprits when it comes to causing distance in relationships. So because if you're in a conversation with somebody, he said that if you're just holding your phone there, even if you're not using it, that's a distraction, because there's a visual there that the other person can see, and they know that if it rings, if it vibrates, if it does something, you're going to look at it. Instead of looking at them, you're going to pay attention to it instead of paying attention to them. And he said, even if you put the phone on the table in front of you and you turn it upside down, he said that doesn't help at all because it's still there. He said, if you want clear communication, if you want to clearly communicate that you are giving somebody your full attention, you have to remove the distractions, remove the cell phone, put it in your pocket, put it in another room. Of course, for me, even if I put it in another room, I still have my smartwatch, and my smartwatch lets me know when those things happen too. So I have to not pay attention to that as well. But those are important little tips, because it hurts when somebody's not paying attention to you, and not just when it comes people and people. It can hurt when it comes to God. And Psalm 13, that's another aspect of our relationship with God that Psalm 13 hits on, the times when it feels like God's not paying attention to you. It's like I have so much going on in my life, but nothing is changing, God. I pray to you, but you don't seem to be answering. Why why do I have to wait through all of this? I know you have the power, I know you have the ability, but I'm kind of wondering if you have the desire to help. There's one verse in there that says, look at me, O Lord, my God. Look at me and answer me. Kind of getting in God's face. Look at me and answer me. If you ever find yourself in a life situation like that, where you've been waiting and waiting through something hard, and you're starting to question God and wonder if he's even paying attention, or what he's thinking when he's paying attention. There's one section in the Gospels where Jesus is with his disciples, and a wealthy young man comes up to Jesus and he asks Jesus, what do I need to do? Like, he's really serious about it. What do I need to do to be saved? I want to be right with God. I want to be good. I want to make sure that I'm good. He's been careful with his wealth, careful with his money. He's been smart with it. He made smart decisions. And so he wants to make the smart decision, in a sense, when it comes to eternity. And Jesus asks him if he knows the commandments, and the guy says, yeah, I know all of those, and I've kept all of those since I was a little kid. And Jesus tells him, well, there's one thing you lack. He said, go sell everything you have and give it to the poor, and then come back and follow me. And the guy went away sad, because he had loved his wealth more than he loved Jesus. That was going to be a hard thing. And so this guy comes up to Jesus. He's misguided on what the Bible teaches to some degree. He's kind of full of himself and even lying to Jesus, saying that he's kept all the laws, even though nobody's done that perfectly. And then he goes away in unbelief. And Jesus is looking at him the whole time, but there's just a little phrase that the Bible throws in there that gives us really great insight into what Jesus is thinking. We're in the middle of all of that. It says that Jesus looked at him and loved him. Jesus looked at him and loved him. When we start getting mad at God for not paying attention to us, I bet we're often thinking about the times in our life where we think that we deserve God's attention. Often, not always. Don't think about those moments. When you think about God paying attention, think about the moments that you don't deserve his attention. Think about the moments where you're a bit too full of yourself, when you've maybe been arrogant or selfish, when you've lied to somebody, lied to God, tried to justify bad behavior in some kind of way, when you obviously loved something or someone more than you loved your Savior. If you think about yourself at those times in your life and put yourself in that portion of the Bible and then plug that line in, it does apply to you. Jesus looks at you and he loves you. And how do you know? Because he went to the cross thinking of you and loving you. Because he looked out at the cross, at the people who put him there, and he asked his Father to forgive them. because he was hanging next to a guy who knew he hadn't done anything well, as far as he could remember. He asked Jesus just to remember him. And Jesus did something much better for him. In a sense, he told him he was going to love him forever. He said, today you're going to be with me in paradise. Well, who is going to be with him? Him. Jesus was paying attention with gracious, forgiving love, even to him. And he always is for you too. Whatever your life looks like, whatever's going on, however it feels, Jesus is looking at you, and he loves you. And one day, because of what Jesus already did, you'll have the chance to look at him and tell him, face to face, how much you love him. You will. That day is coming. But every day until it does, it will be a day that Jesus is paying attention to you with perfect love. Rest well tonight, my friends.